What's wrong with you?
I just
What's going on
the
here?
desire to like exalt this Celtics team, and I'm just like,
Okay, but hold on. Why wouldn't we at this point? Because they could enter rarefied air of teams
I
that
100% get what you're saying and where you're going to go with this. I had this discussion with somebody last night, and I think there's real truth to this. In Celtics fans, and you're going to get pissy, and that's fine. I don't care. The reason they're not looked at and exalted is because nobody outside of Boston likes them.
I do. I'm in Portland.
No.
I love what they've done.
They are not beloved though. That's the thing is like that Warriors team, we didn't like it as they sat here and demolished the team that we cover up here, but we all went, whoo, doggy.
See, but why aren't we looking at this Celtics team in that vein? Because
it has no personality, it has no joy. It is an AI generated machine
of just incredible basketball.
It's
beautiful basketball.
It's dominant.
It is,
but there's something about this that's not. I hate doing this because it lends some credence to the he's a real hooper type talk as opposed to like appreciating the basketball side of things or the analytics of it all. There's something about them that I think it turns the general public off. There's no one's really that charismatic. There's no real like unifying figure. Like everybody likes Drew. Great dude. Like wonderful human. Like does a million things in the community. Awesome. Derek White, same thing. Jaylen Brown taking the hold of this, great. Kristaps Porzingis finally kind of putting some stuff together. Jason Tatum being Jason Tatum. But like, that's the thing is like there's nobody on this team. Like Joe Mazzulla is an absolute psychopath.
Yeah. But I think that is totally what's wrong with the conversation in our sports landscape right now is that it has to be like that, where we are looking at a team that could be the 12th team in NBA history to finish this season with an 80% win percentage. If they win tonight, they will finish the year a perfect 80-20 on the season and finish the postseason 15-2. If you look back and go back historically, they're only going to be the 4th team since the year 2000 to accomplish that feat. So this century, only 4 teams have done it, and they would be the 3rd team to actually win a title doing that because obviously the 73-9 2016 Warriors, they did not. They couldn't finish the deal, right? They ended up losing in the NBA Finals. But it's like we want to knock this team down a peg because they're not sexy enough for us when we are looking at, quite honestly, one of the most dominant seasons in the history of the NBA. And because Joe Mazzulla is a psycho that when Derek White tells him congratulations for winning NBA Coach of the Month, he said nobody cares.
Yeah.
Right? Because Jason Tatum is the build star who doesn't show up in the fourth quarter for games, yet the rest of this team is so damn good that they continue to win. Like, we're not appreciating how truly dominant this team and this run this season is, because it's historic what they're doing.
But it's also, it's the most boring, bland, great team probably in the history of the NBA. Whether it's the Showtime Lakers or it's the Jordan Bulls or it's the 04-05 Pistons that, go absolutely bonkers. Even the Spurs had more personality than this. Like there was like this, the Spurs were probably the last time we got close to this, and we talked about nobody appreciates their greatness. And the difference was this: like the Spurs were actually the machine, where they just won and they won and they won and they won and they won some more. Like 5 titles is not one like the Celtics are about to have. If the Celtics go and win 5 titles, then you go, okay, my bad,
boy.
But
and if you look at it. Tatum, Brown, White, Porzingis, those guys are all under 30.
Yeah, but
all of them are under 30. Drew Holiday is 34 years old.
The ability to keep
Horford
them together
is really old. But yeah, and it'll be the new CBA will make it restrictive in how they're able to continue to win like that. But my goodness, I think that especially in a time where the NBA is being made to not have this happen. And think of that, where, the ramifications of the collective bargaining agreement where the salary cap is, it's gotten more and more prohibitive since then. And this isn't a team where, the 2017, Warriors who went 67-15 and won, 84% of their games when you add their postseason into it. That was a super team. Like, and it was you had Clay and Steph, and they drafted those guys, and they kept those guys together. And Draymond, they drafted him, but they went out and were like, yeah, we're not going to let this happen again. We need Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And they brought Kevin Durant in, right?
That's when it, honestly, think about it. That's when it pivoted as far as like people disliking them.
Yeah. But we are looking at when you look at what the Boston Celtics have done, they have done it more organically, and they made a lot of really tough decisions in sending away Marcus Smart, sending away Malcolm Brogdon,
sending away Time Lord, and sending away Al Horford and bringing him back.
Yeah, and then just being like, hey, we picked up Drew Holiday, and they're giving up assets for it too, and eventually, they're going to want those pieces. But right now, they've done it the way that every single fan of the NBA is like, this is kind of how we want the NBA to work. You develop your stars, you grow your stars, and then instead of going out and grabbing Kevin Durant in free agency, you go and you have to make a trade where you have to give something up to get something back. And I think the people of Philadelphia are probably even more pissed because, like, basically all of them could have been 76ers all at the same time. All at the same time.
Nate Jones, he had an interesting poll up the other day where he asked back, and I don't think people are being truly honest about this because reading the results of the poll, they're not. But if you went back to 2018-19 and you asked yourself which pair you believed in more going forward, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, or Jalen and Jason, it was still slightly ahead. I think it was 54-46, Joel and Ben. That poll should probably be about 80-20. Based on like how things were talked about.
Boy,
then.
Revisionist history.
Yeah, there's a lot of revision because there was significantly more belief in Joel and Ben.
Yep. Well, and then there's this one too. Celtics wins have come against injured teams. Dallas, Indy. They didn't play New York, but they played Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell got hurt. There's and et cetera. But I think that the crazy part about it is that they also had the best record in the NBA in the regular season. It's crazy.
I am not trying to take away from the greatness. I don't even think it's pushback. I think, and I'm being picky about this. They are so bland and vanilla in how they operate. I don't like it. There's no flavor to them. They are the boiled chicken of basketball.
But my pushback to that is, so they drive, kick out, shoot threes, play phenomenal defense. That's kind of what they do. But then it's like we ignore the crazy thing about all the highlights that we see. Jaylen Brown snatched their souls with that dunk in Game 3.
Oh, God, it was great.
And there was about 5 minutes on Twitter where you saw the Jaylen Brown dunk, and then it disappeared. Because it's like they have those explosive plays. They have those exciting plays. You had in Game 2 those blocks at the rim, right? Where it's like, holy crap. No, these would be highlights that are run on repeat over and over and over. Hell, we still see LeBron's chase down block.
And the reason we don't is because nobody cares about this team.
And that's the craziest part, because I understand people don't like. I think what it might be also is Boston fatigue.
Yeah.
Like the city itself, whether it's the Patriots, the Red Sox, the Bruins, or the Celtics, it's like there's just this fatigue of Boston. And when you look at all of the criticisms are, see, Tatum and Brown can't win the big one. They're on the cusp of winning the big one.
They're going to win it.
And usually we would revere that and we'd look at it and be like, no, Jaylen Brown is making the plays.
Well, we've had the Northeast, media industrial complex shoving Boston down our throats for 7 years. That's probably a big part of it.
And isn't that a crazy part about this too, is that that's not even really happening.
Yeah.
Like it's like they don't even want to shove the Celtics down our
Not
throats,
anymore.
which is it's mind blowing that we're not the acknowledgement of how good they are is not being propped up more.
It's like the whole idea of like when somebody says, you know, what makes a superstar? It's not just playing style. Because Nikola Jokic is still probably the best player on the planet. Nobody cares about Nikola Jokic as far as like the greater NBA fan. Everybody acknowledge how great he is, but how many shoes is Nikola Jokic pushing? Does he have his own signature shoe with Nike?
No.
There's that same thing is persistent with the Celtics.
Here's a question. I want you to think about this because I think what we're looking at with both of these teams is the NBA leaned so hard to being in a star-driven league.
Mm-hmm.
Are they now running into you lose people when you don't have these star-driven teams?
Mm-hmm.